What is going on, everybody? This is Yes, I Read That, and today I am reviewing Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. So Siddhartha is not a fantasy book like usual. This is a very different book. It is Hermann Hesse's tale of Siddhartha, a young Brahman. It is about a man searching for the meaning of life, looking for spiritual enlightenment. It's a pretty deep and inspiring book, and even though I only read it once now, I think you can reread this a lot of times and get something new from it every time. It's written in a simple but pretty lyrical style that I really enjoyed, and I want to tell you more about this book. I'm going to give you a breakdown of the story and tell you my likes and dislikes and then give you my score of the book. So let's talk about the story. This book is about a young Brahman called Siddhartha. And it is not about the actual Buddha, who was also called Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. Siddhartha learns a lot from his father and from other priests, but still he can see that even though they teach all the time and they live very religious and strict lives, they never reached enlightenment. They never escaped the samsara, the never-ending cycle of life. So he decides he wants to leave and he will look for enlightenment on his own by becoming a ascetic wandering beggar with his friend Govinda. During this time, he meets the actual Buddha and sees that the man is indeed holy and that he has achieved enlightenment and that he escaped the samsara. But even though he believes that the Buddha is real, he still thinks that he cannot teach this enlightenment to others. So while his friend Govinda decides to follow the Buddha and follow his teachings, Siddhartha himself decides that he will leave again and go on his own search for enlightenment. On that search, he spends a lot of time in nature, eventually ends up in a bigger town where he becomes wealthy and grows old. He almost forgets his dream and forgets why he did all this, but he is saved by an internal experience of the holy word Om. Eventually he settles down with a ferryman and spends his time at a spiritual river where he learns a lot more and eventually actually achieves enlightenment when his old friend Govinda comes to visit. So now that you've got a grasp of the story, I want to talk a bit about the themes that appear in this book. Because there's a lot of different things here and I think everybody can take something different from the book. There are some things that I noticed a lot, and the first one would be search for the meaning of life, or the question if life is meaningless. Especially in the beginning, I think there's a lot of questioning and there's some sentences that really rang true for me about the meaning of life. I think that was really interesting. The next thing I noticed is that Siddhartha always goes against the general population and even against his father and his friend. So to pursue his dream, he really does anything and he does not care what other people think. He just pursues his dream, and I think that's a reoccurring theme as well. And the last thing I noticed is wisdom. In this book, it's becoming very clear that wisdom cannot be shared. It can only be experienced. And that's one of the key messages of this book. Some quotes, I read this book in German, but I just translated them. I guess they're almost the same in English. The wisdom a wise man tries to share always sounds like foolishness. Another one would be, knowledge can be shared, wisdom cannot. And I think that's very true, but I also think that's kind of funny because this is a bit what the book tries to teach you. But anyways, I think there's a lot of depth in the book, there's a lot of interesting themes and topics, and it was pretty inspirational. So now, let's talk about my likes. I really enjoyed this book. I think it's a very cool read. It's pretty short. It's written in a pretty lyrical style that I really enjoyed. I think the character Siddhartha is displayed very well, and I really enjoy basically almost everything in this book. As I said, I feel like everybody can take different things from the book. Personally, I enjoyed the part about wisdom a lot and, well, just Siddhartha doing everything to achieve his dreams. I think at one point he said he will achieve his dreams only because he cleared his mind and he removed everything from his mind that is not helping him to achieve the dream. And I think that's something very interesting because today we have so many distractions going on. I mean, you have your phone with friends writing all the time, you can check all the social media all the time, you have the internet with never-ending possibilities to distract yourself, and that's really something not a lot of people manage to do, just clear everything away and just do what you want to do. So I thought that's very interesting, and I think, as I said, everybody can take different things from the book, but that's something I took from it. To conclude, it was good writing. I mean, I read the book in German, but I think it translates well enough. But the overall style, I think, will translate very well. The story and the message of the book were really good. I really enjoyed them. And also the display of Eastern religion, the Buddha, I think that was all well done. So let's get to my dislike. There is not a lot here, but there are some things that I found kind of funny. So the first thing would be that to read a book like this, I think you have to be in a certain mood. Like, it's not something I would just pick up on a whim and, well, it's something you could definitely pick up on a whim, but if you're not in the mood for something like this, then it might sound like a lot of pretending to be smart to you. I'm not sure, but that's what I experienced when reading books like this before. Obviously, the book is complete fiction, but I found it very funny that there's a certain irony in this book, because one of the key messages is that wisdom cannot be taught, it can only be lived and experienced. But this book is trying to do the same in a way. It is trying to teach you things about life. So there's a certain irony to that, but I just thought it was funny. It's not bad, and maybe the book is just trying to show you a different approach to finding a meaning in life, so it's all fine. My overall score for this book is an 8 out of 10. As I said, I really enjoyed the book, but I still think it's not for everybody. For example, if I would have read this book in high school, I probably would have hated it, or if someone kind of forced me to read this, I probably would have hated it too. If I read this at the wrong moment, I probably would have hated it. But if you're looking for a book trying to show you a bit of a different approach in life, telling you about the spiritual journey of Siddhartha, about his search for meaning in life, then I think this is the perfect book to read, and honestly, I enjoyed it a lot, and I think everybody can take something from this book, so I would really recommend everybody to read this at least sometime. Maybe not now, but sometime. So yeah, that concludes my review. If you read the book, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments. I'm always curious. If you like this review, make sure to leave a like, maybe sub to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye!